Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Xposed with Ash. I am your host, Ash Lazoo. Today's a special episode. Now that I'm about, I want to say 85% better, back to normal, so to speak, we're going to talk about my journey as a bone marrow
stem cell
donor. So I got my donor shirt on. And today,
DNA donor.
so I have my travel companion, my Bravery brother. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Chris Abalo, making my Xposed with Ash debut. And I accompanied Ash to her donation in Florida because that's how desperate things were.
That was not because I was desperate.
I mean, kind of. The fact that I was medically necessary for anything is hilarious to me.
Oh, my God.
Because I never thought, I told my mother very young, I'm not going to be a doctor.
Really?
So, yes. So,
whoa.
Not that was an expectation, but I just wanted, I like to put everything on Front Street. So I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm not going to be a lawyer. I'm just not wired for that. So the idea that my presence was medically necessary is hilarious to me more than anybody else on earth.
Okay, so I'll explain.
But we'll get into it. Yeah.
Let me explain my process of how I chose Chris, right? So obviously, for those who have watched the show, I have two small children. My son's on the spectrum, so he needs more care from either me or his dad. So his dad couldn't come with me, so I called one of my friends, and she's in the military, so sometimes her schedule could be a little crazy. So she was the number one, like, okay, we're doing this, and there's a backstory to that we'll get into a little bit later. But she was the one I called. Everything was yes. And we had everything ready to go until a week before we purchased the tickets to fly to Florida. She got sent out. They sent her out.
She got deployed.
Yeah, for just a 2-week thing.
But during that.
So I was just like, whoa, who am I going to call? So I went down. In my head, I'm like, okay, who am I close enough to? And who is responsible enough to know that
30 people all said no.
not 30, like 4.
Okay. Yeah, but still.
It was a random phone call. I was on the phone with Mina from Queen of Spice, right? I'm on the phone with her randomly, and we're like, yo, we should do like a show about it. And Mina's like, ask Chris. And I was like, you think so? She's like, yeah, ask Chris. I'm like, all right. See, I'm going to talk to Jacob first.
Well, I mean, for obvious reasons, that makes total sense. Because even when I mentioned it to people, it's just like, wait, she's married? It's like, yes. But they got kids. And so, like, the dad's got to stay with the kids. Like, that's fine. It's 3 days, Like,
I feel like that's the odd, quote unquote, odd part about it. Because It's like guy-girl friendships. You don't really see them. But...
Yeah, like you're traveling together alone. It's like, no, but it's not like vacation. Like, you were just... Like you were trying to go away with, one of your girlfriends down to Florida and bailed. Like, well, I have a ticket. Do you want to go to Florida and hang out on the beach for a couple days? Like, okay. Like, that's a different circumstance. I think that would have been
somewhat okay because you probably would have been along your way and I would have been along my way. You know what I mean?
It would have been, but like if Jacob said, I'm not cool with that, I would totally understand.
Yeah.
Like that I would get. But considering this was a process that, I mean, I didn't find out until we were already down there that you actually had the option of going alone, which would have been insane. I can't believe it's an option for anybody doing this. And I'm saying that just because of how intense it can get. I mean, obviously everyone's going to react differently to the shots you were getting, which we'll get into that. Not the fun shots, by the way, needle shots, but the way the way your body handled everything. Yeah. I just thought, I don't know how many people would just be totally fine, like on their own, unaccompanied. Even if they were local, I feel like that would be a lot. Like if you were drivable, like if you live somewhere in Florida and you had to drive like 2 hours, like I still think
that would have
been too intense just watching the process. And I've never done anything on that level.
Yeah.
I've donated blood, I've donated plasma, but it's like we'll get into exactly what happens. But just the idea that it was on the table for you to go alone, I thought was crazy.
I don't think I would have been able to do it alone.
No. Oh, I was there. You definitely would have been able to do it alone.
Yeah, that was a lot.
But it would have been a lot for anybody. So,
but I went down my list. So it was between, honestly, it was you and Ugo. And I told Ugo like a later time, like, you were next on the list. Chris said yes. Mm-hmm. But I love that it was an immediate yes. Like Chris, there was no hesitation. Chris was like, all right, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I get a text. Hey, do you have a few minutes? Which is normally Ash's thing anyway. It's hey with 19 Y's on it. Hey, can you talk for a few minutes?
Those few minutes end up for 2 hours every conversation.
Well, you're calling me, so what do you expect? Why do you think we booked 2 hours for the show? No, but you call me, And I thought it's maybe venting or something like that, because you and I will vent to each other just for the sake of, having a listening ear. And you said, so are you free this is May 3rd, because it was 10 days out, which I just, obviously, that's how sharp I am at math. I was like, it's the 3rd, the 13th, am I free in 10 days? But
I didn't even count the days.
I said, well, that's where my brain goes. But you're like, are you free like the 13th to the 15th? And I'm like, where do we go? There was talk of, like group trips and stuff like that. I was like, we going to New Orleans or something? Like we talked about things kind of going places as a group. And I said, wow, is this going to happen like in a week and a half? That's kind of odd. But you said, so I need to go and donate. And you told me the whole thing. And I was like, where are we going? You're like, Florida. I'm like, okay, sure. And I'm literally, I opened my calendar because I put everything in the calendar on my phone. So I'm looking and I'm like, there's literally nothing going on. Like no appointments for, doctors or anything like that, or, see my therapist at the end of that week. So I was like, no, I actually am open. So, okay.
Yeah,
because you also said up front, like, because the whole concern for most people last minute, like, am I going to be able to swing this? But you're like, no, the ticket is paid for. The food is, is paid for. So, like, it's basically at no expense. Like, I just need you to be there. So I was like, okay.
Well, I did say I need a caretaker. I was like, I need a caretaker. I need somebody to,
you didn't just want a travel buddy.
Yeah.
You're like, I need you to look after me. Probably going to need you to drive. And I was like, yeah, okay. That's fine. And even the idea of getting away, even under those circumstances, I thought, yeah, this will be good.
Yeah.
This will be good for me. Timing wise, I'm like, this will be nice. Even though it wasn't like a vacation, so to speak, it was still like, I can get away, break up the routine for a couple of days. But yeah, it was, oh, absolutely. Yeah, you need that? Sure. Let's go.
Yeah, it was an immediate yes. And I appreciate the immediate yes. Everybody was like, oh, well, ask somebody else and then circle back. And I'm like, this is important to me. Like there's a backstory that it was really important to me. So I'm like, all right, never called.
Yeah.
And it's just.
Well, that's also being asked about this. I realized that in my social circle, I'm the Uncle Buck, basically. Now, for those of you familiar with the 35-year-old movie, which Ash was not.
No.
He's the, unmarried, doesn't have kids, got working guy, living alone, all of that. Who when his, brother's father-in-law has a heart attack, is like, we need to go out of town for, a little while. Can you look after the kids? And then he has to come over and stay, leaves Chicago to go to the suburbs to take care of his nieces and nephew. And I thought, wow, I'm the Uncle Buck in my social circle. Who knew?
Oh, boy.
Who saw that coming?
You are the Uncle Buck.
I am.
But everybody calls me the mom. So mom needed help. I needed help.
You did. Yeah, you did.
It was intense.
But everything leading up to it, because I had done something for, I think it was about 2011, had gone to what at the time was called Be the Match, to see if I was a match for donating bone marrow.
Yes,
because it was,
that's what I signed up to, and then they changed the name.
And I never heard anything back because I guess I wasn't a match or anything. So that was a while ago. So I didn't know that was this was the same process, or how long ago you donated, because your story is a lot more personal as far as how this came about. Because that's got to be the first question. Like, why would you do this? Why are you putting yourself through? Because it requires a lot, especially in the position of, you own your own business, you have 2 kids, there's, your day-to-day has a lot of moving parts to it.
Yeah.
So how is it you can take a trip and also do this on top of everything else? Which is, when I told my mother the story, she was in tears, by the way. Aww. I just kind of told her over the phone. I called them because Mother's Day was the day before we flew.
Yeah, yes it was.
So I called and I was like, well, I'm going to tell her because all the details are finalized. Because not that there's any reason to worry, but I want to give her kind of like the full everything. And I was like, I'm going to save that for the Mother's Day call.
Aww.
So I went over the whole thing. Of course, she's crying about just like, I can't believe with everything she's going on, she's still making time to do this.
That's so nice. See, I don't think about it like that. I guess I'm always on the go, always moving. That you don't think of like the impact.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's because it does require a lot of you, and from what people hear about, it's an intense process.
Yeah.
But also very vital.
Yes.
As you know firsthand.
So, all right. So the reason I signed up, so back in, I want to say 2015, 16, my son was a baby. I didn't want to go back to work. So my husband was like, look, just do something and get out the house. So I was going to school to be a medical assistant. That fizzled out real fast, but I still went to school. I completed everything. And they had people from Be the Match. Before it's called Be the Match. Now it's called Gift of Life. They came to the school, they explained the process. I was like, yeah, I'll sign up. I don't care. In my head, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was diagnosed with the autoimmune disease. So I'm like, yeah, they're not gonna call me. Like, and if they do call me, I'm gonna be disqualified anyway.
Right.
And it's odd. It's amazing how life works, because from then till now, there was a lifestyle change in between that where I took my health very serious, and that autoimmune disease, right, that they try to diagnose me with, it's not in my bloodstream anymore. It doesn't show up anymore. I don't want to say it's cured, because things can go like in remission and then pop back up when it wants to, but it has not shown up in the past almost 10 years. No. Yeah. I would say 8 to 10.
Wow.
Between that time frame. So in my head at that time, they're not going to call me. And if they do, whatever. So 2016, that same year, my best friend, high school friend, known her since we were 13, 14 years old. She was diagnosed with leukemia, and she needed a bone marrow. Her brother was her match, but I was like, wow, look how life works, where I sign up, then I find out about this, and it's just, things just move rapidly. And fast forward to 2020, she passed away on Valentine's Day, and we buried her on my birthday. And it was very, very difficult. When I tell you best friend, we used to she was like a cuddle buddy, where it's like, what are you doing? Nothing. Okay, I'm coming over. And she'll come over so we could lay in bed and watch TV. And that was all we did all day.
Right.
You know, and even Jacob, he knew, like, as soon as Suzy was coming over, he was, all right, I'll see you guys later. And we would just kind of hang out. But it was like, just that parallel, they call it parallel play for people with autism. I'm not saying I'm autistic, but it's just, as long as you have a body next to you, you feel comfortable.
The expression works, though.
Yeah. So that was my bestie. You know, she was there for both pregnancies, every single relationship I've been in. So she's very important to me. And that's why the show that I did with Dorisa, when she explains her process getting a bone marrow transplant from her brother, it was very touching. It brought back a lot of emotions. And so my friend, she passed away, buried her on my birthday, and then fast forward to her birthday of this year, 2024, that's when I got the call that I was a match for somebody, and he had the same leukemia that she had. And it was very rare. It's a very rare form of leukemia. So I was like, yeah, I have to do this. This is whatever anybody else wants to believe. I do believe in science. I pay attention to what's around me, nature, all of that. Everything kind of comes together. So that was my sign from God that this is just another step in my life to keep moving forward. And I was put here to do something important.
Right.
So that's how that began. And from there, the process was intense.
Yeah. So you started getting shots to increase your white blood cell count.
Yeah.
On Friday. It was the 13th and 15th of May. So it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Friday, you were getting 5 days of shots, because the last shot was right before the donation.
I asked her not to give it to me. I was like, do I have to? I was so miserable. Those shots were brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were brutal. So they're called filgrastim. And I was getting 2 shots in my stomach every day. So the first 2 days was fine. I was like, all right, whatever. We got videos. Everything was cool. And then by the 4th and 5th, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. 3rd, I was like, all right, I don't feel too good.
Yeah, Sunday we talked, and you were like, I'm wiped out. I'm not feeling so hot, but it's all right. We're still doing it. Jacob's gonna pick you up in the morning, bring you back to give you your shot Monday morning before we flew.
Yes.
So you're supposed to get that at 5:45. So you said, Jacob's gonna come pick you up around 5:30, bring you back here while I'm getting my shot, and then we'll go to the airport.
They delayed our flight, right?
They did. Well,
that morning. So that morning they delayed our flight. So I was like, all right, we get the shot and we'll get you later on. No, we still picked you up earlier. See, this is where it gets hazy. So you're going to hear more from Chris, because from the shots, when I don't feel well, everything kind of just shuts down until I'm me again. And that's when I started feeling crummy from the shots. And it was to be expected, the body aches, brain fog, just nausea, headaches. The headaches were intense. It was worse than a migraine. Worse than a migraine. It was just, to explain that, kind of mix it with nausea. That was kind of like my first trimester when I was pregnant with my kids.
It's on that level?
It was brutal. Oh, yeah.
Well, isn't that type of, I don't know if it's that exact shot, but that type of treatment, isn't that what they give to people when they're undergoing cancer treatment, like when they're doing.
I believe so. So from what I heard from somebody
increase
else,
the white blood cell count.
Yeah.
Right?
So from what I heard from somebody else is that she was getting the same shots, and it made her feel sick, and it was humbling. It was a very, very humbling experience to know that I only had 5 days. They have months.
Yeah.
And just feeling defeated like that and humbled, and just it was very intense. And when I witnessed my friend going through her process, she had such an upbeat attitude. She was always ready to go. Let's hang out. Let's do this. I couldn't even get out of bed.
Yeah.
So it's an eye opener.
For sure. And also puts in perspective like how important, because they can only give you so many details, of course, as the donor. But knowing that your donation was literally going to save this man's life, that's all you know, is that he was a man who had a rare type of cancer. And
he's 34.
Your DNA was,
I got a brother. I got a brother. He has my DNA, so my brother's out there somewhere.
Somewhere. We'll find out in about 11 months if he wants to actually make
twins.
Contact. Now you are, yeah. That's all your fault. No, but the idea that like, oh, this guy's going, like what I'm going through is nothing compared to what he's going through for who knows how long.
Right.
That's the thing, because even to get on, I know it varies when it comes to, organ donation, things like that, but you're usually on a waiting list for a while, especially when you're looking for a specific match. And if they had to go, we don't know where this guy's from, but if they had to go all the way to New Jersey to find a donor, like it's something they've been trying nationwide, you assume, to find.
Well, yeah, it's so they could find people out of the country as well.
Really?
Yes.
They are global. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's global. So and I thought that was very interesting, because there was a process where if the person was out of the country, there's certain things I could not know at all. So I wish I read the pamphlet a little bit more. I didn't. I just kind of like, okay, yeah, just sign me up, because I felt like the more details I would have known, I would have psyched myself out, and it's just something that I had to do it. Like as soon as I found out, it has to be done.
Totally. Like, well, you had a very personal investment in it.
Yeah.
Because of your best friend.
Yep.
Now, my question going into it was, I should say later on that day, because I said yes, and then I'm running through it in my head. I'm just like, wait, what are we doing? Because you just said Florida. And I was like, where are we going in Florida? See, by the way, me saying Florida. Now, we're from New Jersey, so me saying Florida instead of Florida, that's the voiceover working. That's the voice acting thing where I try to neutralize it.
Florida.
Yeah, I said most of the time I'm saying Florida, like everybody else in New Jersey, but the Florida, that's the professionalism coming out.
Florida.
So I don't normally talk like that, but subconsciously it's in there. But I said, so where exactly are we going? Because I said, are we going to be like in a swamp or something? Because I have no idea. Because Florida, you forget being in New Jersey how big other states are.
Right.
And, there is a lot of Florida, and there's, you cast a pretty wide net as far as the geography of Florida, so to speak. And I was like, where are we going to be? And you said, we're going down to Boca Raton. And I thought, mouth of the rat. Okay.
Why the mouth of the rat?
That's what it translates to.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I never.
Boca is what in Spanish?
Yeah, it is mouth.
And Raton is?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Hysterical.
Yeah, you never thought of that?
Nope.
That's the first thing I thought of, because I'm nuts.
The mouth of the rat.
I was like, we're going to the mouth of the rat. So Ash can save a life. Sounds like a B-grade Indiana Jones movie. But I was like, okay. Now, all I knew from Boca Raton was like, that's where old people live. Like that's Heaven's Waiting Room.
There's a lot of
there's a lot of people there.
And
a lot of New Yorkers and Georgians who go there to die. So I thought, okay, what do they have down there? Now, I didn't realize how kind of small Boca Raton was and surrounded by. We actually ended up, the hotel we stayed in was in Delray Beach.
Yes.
And the facility was in Boca Raton, but it was like a square mile. Like I didn't realize how kind of small that town was, because just looking for stuff surrounding us, it was just like, oh, that's a totally different town than it's on. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, Boca Raton. Okay, well, let's see how this goes. And yeah, so that was a relief. Just like, oh, we're going to South Florida. And you and I had ambitious plans too. We're like,
oh, we sure did.
We're going to drive, because it was like,
we're going to Miami.
We're going to Miami. We're like, Monday night, we're going to go to Miami. We're going to drive, because it's like, as the crow flies, it's 45 minutes. Reality, it's like 2 hours because of traffic getting into Miami. And we're like, we're going to go out to Miami. We got to see what that's about, because neither one of us has been. I hadn't been to Florida ever, period. So like that intrigued me anyway.
I have. I just never been to Miami.
Right. Because you were at Daytona Beach, you said?
Clearwater. I like Clearwater.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, we got to explore around. Like we got to take advantage of our time in this trip. It wasn't to be. No. And that's okay, because we found out in Florida, like Miami's very polarizing. People are all about it. People are just like, I hate going. No, I don't want to go there at all.
Don't go.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people said like, no, don't go. Don't even bother. Which I get it. I mean, a lot of younger people, party people in their teens and 20s, probably 20s because they get loaded, will go down there. And I get that. But like aside from Pitbull, I don't know if there's anybody there over 30. Because any adults we talk to, anybody our age is just like, nah, don't go to Miami. Like, there's nothing for you, Miami. And it didn't happen anyway. But our ambition was just like, we're going to make the most out of these 3 days.
Yeah.
Didn't quite play out that way.
Nope.
But yeah, so we had the flight, was supposed to be 8 a.m. out of Newark.
Yeah.
On Monday morning. This is where I will fill in the details for you because you were hazy.
It was very hazy.
Yeah. Well, that's it. The day 4 shot, and you were told this at the clinic on Tuesday. Like, that's the worst one. And then obviously you get so the one you got Monday morning was the worst of the 4 you'd had up to that point.
Yeah.
And then you had one just before donation, but that probably was going to kick in because you were feeling it more later in the day. You're getting the shots in the morning. As the day progressed,
yeah,
you were feeling it. So that's what they said. On top of the donation, I mean, obviously the 5th one on Tuesday with the shot and the donation hit you pretty hard, but
it did.
We'll get there. But yeah, so as far as the actual how the trip played out, yeah, I kind of need to fill in the blanks because Ash was...
It gets very
less than 100%.
Hazy. It gets hazy.
No,
and we made plans. We got snacks. I'm like, we're going to watch movies. It's going to be a slumber party.
Worst case. She was like, if nothing else, we'll hang out in the hotel room and watch movies. Like, if I'm not up to going out, like, we'll hang out in the hotel and we'll watch movies. We'll eat some snacks. Maybe we didn't know how close to the beach we were going to be because we didn't know about the hotel yet.
Yeah.
So we said, well, maybe we'll end up going to like the beach one morning, see the sunrise one morning, something like that. We talked about, okay, if nothing else, we'll do that. Yep. And even that was aiming high considering how things actually played out. But yeah, I barely slept. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning. I got to bed late.
Sorry.
It's not your fault.
I feel like it's my fault now.
No, not at all.
Why didn't you sleep?
I don't know. It's so funny. So this was actually the last time I flew at all was actually 6 years ago at that point. It was May of 2018.
Oh, wow.
I'd flown back to Jersey because we'd come back for my former girlfriend. I came back for kind of like a little vacation, but we also drove to Pennsylvania because her niece was graduating from college. But we tied it into like a visit to Jersey, which was also the visit when we announced like, hey, we're moving back. Well, she was moving here for the first time. I was moving back after 6 years out there. So that was, the last kind of vacation I had, so to speak. And but I haven't been on a plane since because obviously with COVID and everything else, which happened shortly after, it was, it certainly felt like shortly after. And just not having many places to go. I mean, had the plan, if the film festival started, things played out differently with, my short film and all that. The idea was like, I'll build trips around like going to other states if we get accepted into festivals out of states, but that hasn't happened yet. So yeah, I just hadn't been on a plane. Usually I wouldn't sleep well the night before I flew back to California from Jersey. Sometimes I wouldn't sleep at all, but then I can knock out on the plane because it's a 5-6 hour flight.
It's a plane thing then. It's not. I
don't know if it's an anxiety thing because I don't feel weird about flying. Like, I'm not one of those people who's afraid of flying. Like, I don't like it, but nobody likes flying. Nobody likes being in that tube
anxious, but that's why one of my friends said that's why they have bars at airports. You're supposed to drink before you get on a flight, no matter what time it is.
Just 8 a.m. is a little early in the day for me.
And you wouldn't care. Like, all right, whatever. Take a little nappy nap.
But at the same time, being someone who's responsible for you, like I wasn't even, because you asked even when we were in the airport, because yes, we were supposed to fly at 8. Jacob was going to pick me up at 5:30. But I woke up at 3:30. I'd slept for about 4 hours. My plan was to be in bed at 10 to be up at 5. I didn't get to bed till 11. And then I woke up at 3:30 and just could not get back to sleep. I tried. Yeah. And got a text from you a little bit before 5 saying like, so our flight's been delayed till, I forget. I think at that point it was like
9.
an hour. Yeah. So it wasn't that bad. But you said, so we're just going to come pick you up at, I think it was just a little bit after 6. You guys can pick up.
Because he still had to get the kids to school.
Exactly. So. And like he could drop us at the airport and then he can drop the kids off at school. And at the same time, we're like, well, what are we going to do? Like sit at home just waiting to go to the airport? Like, let's just go to the airport and, eat something and then we'll fly and that'll be it. So here we are, Newark Airport. Yeah. It's a very strategic shot we got here. About to fly to Ash's bone marrow donation. So who knows about this? Obviously your family knows, my family knows.
I've been telling everybody.
Yeah?
I've been telling everybody, like, oh, guess what? See, I haven't. I've been keeping this close to the chest because I'm like, well, let's say,
Yeah.
it'd be funny to just tell everybody, like, hey, guess what?
Guess what
Because
I
this
did.
has only come together in the last 10 days.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, oh, how are we gonna make
Well, I've
this
been
work?
telling my clients just to kind of prepare them, like just in case when they come back to the next wax,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I know my energy may be down,
Yeah,
so it's just to kind of prepare them.
that's realistic. Our flight was delayed. We woke up to that 2-hour delay, but we still got to the airport way early. Got to eat something
Burgers.
and board, and yeah, gonna be an adventure.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we get to the airport way early. We find some breakfast. And the ambition was, like Mina said, we're going to document this.
Yeah.
We're going to make a documentary about the donation process and everything. So we started that at the airport while we were eating breakfast.
Right. Was it breakfast? I had a big old greasy cheeseburger.
I mean,
I remember that.
According to the clock, it was breakfast. Oh, you remember the cheeseburger?
Yeah, I remember the
Oh, that's-
cheeseburger. Because I didn't have much of an appetite most of the time. I
Yeah.
I think I ate a full meal maybe twice.
I don't think I had anything because I was planning on eating at the airport just because I don't like flying on an empty stomach and I need to
Yeah.
eat. I'm not one of those people who can skip breakfast. Like I don't understand those people. Like I'm cranky if I don't eat something first thing in the morning. Like hangry probably sums
Yeah.
it up. Honestly, like now that's been a word for like a decade. Yeah. Yeah, I get like hangry. I get very, very punchy.
Well, I didn't witness any of that.
No, I was very
didn't-
well. I was
yeah,
so
you were well
behaved.
behaved.
I was very well behaved. It's crazy.
You didn't have to be. It was fine. It was fine if everybody gets cranky because I was like out for the count. I probably would have remembered it.
Well, that's
funny.
That's it. Because I was like, well, one of us has to keep it together. So I guess it's going to be me. This is what it's come to.
You had no choice.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so we ate and then the flight got delayed again. I think ultimately we flew at like 11 or 11:30. It
Did
was
we?
way late. It was a while
Okay.
because I think we landed about 2, flew into
Yeah,
Fort
because then we had to
Lauderdale.
pick up the car.
Yeah, so we got the shuttle. We had to walk way the hell out of the way to get to the
Yeah.
shuttle pickup. We literally had to walk to another terminal, dragging our bags, and you were like literally dragging.
That's right. You had to hold my bags. I couldn't hold it.
Yeah.
I remember that. So
I'm-
I felt very weak.
Yeah,
so I
so
couldn't
now
hold my
I'm
bags.
her chaperone, her valet, her chauffeur. I like all the responsibilities on my shoulders, which again is peanuts compared to what she's about to do to donate fluids. So I couldn't complain. I had no reason to complain because it is something that puts it in perspective. Like, jokes aside, it actually does put it in perspective because there's a man whose life you're saving because you're going through this process to donate. So whatever I'm going through is nothing compared to you as the donor, him as the recipient, as a cancer patient, and I've lost people in my life. People mean a lot who have, they mean a lot to me. Still mean a lot to me. Lost them to cancer. So anything I was feeling or anything I was going through, any temporary discomfort was nothing.
Right.
You know, you have to zoom out and you have to keep perspective in those moments. I mean, it's easy to get irritated. Nobody likes sitting around at the airport. No one likes to sit and wait for a flight, delayed and,
I like how you said that. Zoom out.
You have to
zoom out
you
to
have
get
to.
a bigger perspective.
It's very easy to get caught up in yourself and get angry or and get anxious or whatever it is. But it's just like, you know what, this trip isn't about me. This isn't a vacation. I'm here to look out for Ash.
Right.
That's what this is about. That's what the whole trip is about. So if I start pitching a fit, then you're going to feel some type of way. And as far as I'm concerned, you need to be as comfortable as possible in this process.
All right. Say hi. Oh, now you're not. Oh, okay, I was going to say now you're not smiling.
You keep getting me smiling, so I got to do it.
Chris is holding all of our luggage. Hi.
So I was very well behaved. Evolved Chris showed up in a big way. But yeah, we get to the shuttle. We get taken to the rent-a-car place, which was, I mean, you reserved the car wisely because that wasn't an option. Like we could have been picked up and been shuttled directly to the hotel.
Yeah.
Courtesy of
Gift of Life.
Gift of Life. Sorry, I want to say Be the Match, but I'm like, it's not.
Yeah.
Be the Match does sound like a dating service, so I
That's why they
understand them.
changed the name.
That makes perfect
Yeah.
sense because they're just like they got people signing up and they don't realize they're signing up to donate.
They got a swab in the mail.
They're like, what the hell
is
is
this
this? Like, this is the weirdest dating site I've ever seen.
Imagine.
But
To make sure there's no incestual stuff going on. You swab your cheeks.
gross. But yeah, we get taken to, you rented the car and it's kind of a rinky-dink rental car place. And then we get the car, which is a Nissan Kicks, which is a car I've never heard of. I didn't know this thing existed.
Yeah, I didn't hear of Nissan Kick.
It was
Kicks.
kind of like size-wise, it was I don't know when it was made. I don't know if they're still made, but it was kind of like the only reference point as far as size goes that I could think of is like a Honda HRV. It's not quite an SUV. It's kind of in between a sedan and an SUV. Because I think you did like small SUV, and it said Toyota RAV4 or equivalent. I was like, oh, cool, because I drive a Honda CRV, so I thought like, oh, so it's similar size car.
I thought it was going to be a RAV4. I wanted space.
Totally, and it ended up not being that. And honestly, the car wasn't even that clean. Like they didn't hose it down. They didn't clean the windshield. Nothing like that. And I tried running.
I got it on a discount.
The windshield cleaner. No. I get. Well, you would think a car rental place is going to maintain their cars in that way, or at least in between getting dropped off by one party and picked up by another. You would think they would at least like hose it down, make sure the windshield was clean. Because I tried spraying with the cleaner, and one of the windshield wipers must have been dried out or something because just, kind of like pushed it didn't actually clean.
Oh,
just kind of pushed the fluid. Yeah, you were knocked out by the time we got to the rental car place.
Which
so you probably don't remember
it was
any
a
of
good thing because everybody knows I have such bad anxiety in cars.
Yeah.
So the first half of the trip, it was fine. The second half, I'm like, Chris, do you have to weave in and out of traffic?
We're going 35. And I've never seen anything like it. Nobody in Florida, this is a warning and also a PSA. Nobody in Florida uses a blinker. Nobody uses a turn signal when they turn. They don't signal when they change lanes. It's Mad Max. Okay. So watch yourself if you're from outside of Florida and you're going to Florida, because nobody knows what a GD turn signal is. We're supposed to keep this clean, right?
It was wild because there were times I'm like, and I'm like holding on, and Chris is like, you were fine for the 40-minute drive to the hotel because you were sleeping. And I'm like, I know. And then I'm like this, like
go back to sleep.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Let me give you something.
I can't.
Now you need it. Now you need some tequila or something. Like now we got to legit knock you out, which you couldn't have. So we weren't going to do that anyway.
Yeah. So before,
you had to be clean.
As soon as I found out that I was a match, that's when, I already wasn't drinking because of my birthday. I went too hard in February.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And
doesn't hit the same the older you get.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And so I'm like, all right, I won't drink. I won't do anything crazy. Just water, workout, work. That's it. So it was clean.
It was clean living for.
I still haven't picked up alcohol. I can't. So, and we'll get into that a little later. There's like story after story when it comes to this.
There's a lot of chapters to the story.
Not only donation, it was the recovery.
Yeah,
part,
the post recovery thing.
Yeah, that was intense.
But yeah, despite the dirty rental car, I drove us to the hotel, which wasn't that bad. It was about half hour.
Yeah.
Maybe 40 minutes. Hard to judge because we were starving when we
that's when we hit the Taco Bell.
Hungry.
You had that lizard.
Hang on. See, you got to build up to the story.
Okay,
you can't just be like, oh, this happened. Did you? Oh, remember that? Like they haven't heard it yet.
The bits and pieces.
Yeah. So you remember that though?
I do remember the lizard.
Ash was dying to eat, and literally about a mile from the car rental joint, there was a Taco Bell, and I was like, "Do you want us to go there and get something to eat? Because like I'm hungry, you're hungry. We don't know what's near the hotel. Like, you want to just get something?" She said, "Yeah, let's go. Let's get something to eat." So we hit the drive-through, and then we just pulled into the parking lot and eat because I'm like, it's a rental car. It's not clean already, but I'm not trying to dirty it up even more. We're gonna be in this thing for the next 3 days. So we're sitting there eating, and then she's kind of eating quietly, and I was
done. I was laying back down.
But you were cold. See, it was humid. I was worried about the weather going there anyway because my cousins who live in the West Palm Beach area, I saw that my one cousin had posted the Friday before we left that it was over 100 degrees, which was a new high for early May in that part of Florida. So I was worried about the heat anyway. Like, I'm wearing this leather jacket now, like under protest, because I couldn't wear it down there. Like when I saw the weather was going to be like knocking on 90 degrees, I'm just like, well, I can't wear the leather jacket. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
But I felt naked for 3 days. But the heat was definitely a concern. And it was like 88 and humid when we got there.
Yeah, I was miserable.
That didn't help either.
Nope.
Like weather-wise, it did not help you feeling, I was tired because I'd barely slept. We were hungry because we ate it however early, long before we boarded the plane, and then didn't eat on the plane, and then into the terminal. And so we were hungry. So we were like, let's take a few minutes and just relax and eat, get some empty calories in our system. And at one point on the driver's side, there's a guy kind of walking up to the car, and he's got his phone. And now the dude's wearing, sandals and like, an undershirt, like a guinea tee. I can say it. You can't.
Is that a derogatory term?
I mean, depends who you ask.
We
For me,
call it
I
a
don't
wife
care.
beater.
Yeah, well, it's a wife. Well, that's probably worse than guinea tea in my mind. Calling it a wife beater.
A tank top. He was in a white
He's
tank
wearing
top.
a tank top undershirt and some like ratty shorts. So I was just like, oh, this dude's. I think this dude's coming up and asking us for money or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Chris is like, I
And
think
hear
it's
him
time to go.
And I'm like, it's time to go. And the guy's like looking at me and saying something. I have my sunglasses, so I don't know that he can tell like I was looking at him or not.
So, but
he's walking the phone, and then all of a sudden, what looks like a green Escalade comes out from under the car and climbs up a tree. It was an iguana that was the size of, it was at least a Prius. Like, that was a big ass
I didn't
iguana.
see it.
I know you didn't, because the thing's, it was gone. I haven't seen cockroaches move that fast.
Sound effect.
It did. It scurried from under the car, and I'm like, Jesus. Like, I'd gone out of the car to, I think they forgot to give us straws or something. Like, I went in the restaurant to grab something and then come back out. I'm like, this thing could have attacked me. Like, I don't know from iguanas.
Iguanas don't
We don't have
attack.
iguanas. Like, we have everything else in New Jersey. We don't have iguanas.
Oh, God.
But I was like, which they don't. Apparently, they don't. Like, they don't
attack.
bite humans. Apparently,
No.
they will, like, whip their tail at something if they feel threatened. But,
Yes.
like, this thing was under the car, and I'm thinking, had we left sooner, we could have run this fool over.
Wow.
But
Imagine
the guy
if the doom.
yeah, the doom, like, what the hell was that?
It's not funny.
And then you see like a cartoon of iguana laying outside with his tongue out.
Oh my
Really long
God.
tongue.
That's terrible. You know, I'm an
It is
animal
terrible.
lover.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
God.
not. It's under the car, threatening me.
Jeez.
Not when it moves
was
that
not
fast.
threatening you.
I don't know, man. Anything that moves that fast that has claws that could climb a tree, is not my friend. I'm not trying to defend that thing. But anyway, so the guy was like filming it with his phone, and that's what he was trying to say. He's like, "There's an iguana under your car." He's like, "I'm here on vacation. I've never seen anything like that before." I was like, "Oh, okay." And that was kind of it.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's time to go. Like, that
Yeah,
point, I was so
it was time to
disturbed that I almost got attacked by an iguana. I was just like, we're going to the hotel.
Yeah.
But we popped into a Whole Foods because we wanted to get like some snacks, just some stuff to have in the room, because Monday we had no responsibilities
Yeah.
because the donation was Tuesday. So now that we were there and we had a rental car, we were on our own. It's like, let's get a couple of things for the room. Let's get some water and things like that, because we didn't know what the hotel accoutrements were going to be. So we get to the hotel, which was the Opal Grand in Delray Beach, which the grounds and the hotel itself,
Very nice.
gorgeous. The room was average as hell. It was like an average hotel room, I gotta say. I'm not a big fan of the sliding bathroom door, like the glass door. That's
Yeah.
just like frosted glass that just slides closed. I don't like that. I like a door that actually closes. But I mean, there wasn't even a microwave in the room. And we
Oh,
were
so
both
because
like,
it
what the
had
hell
a
is that?
barn door.
Huh?
It was a barn door.
Is that
You
what
mean
it's
the
considered?
bathroom door?
The sliding door.
That's a
Yeah.
barn door. Because
Okay.
it also had the sliding shower door, too.
Yeah, we were put off because there was no microwave in the room. We're like, what the hell
Yeah,
is
what
that?
the hell, man? I wanted
like, how is there
popcorn.
no-
We got popcorn. We got like a whole bunch of stuff.
We did,
for, like,
because
the
again, we were
microwave.
preparing for like, because you know,
Preparing for
you were
movie
still
night.
feeling normal at that point, but you're like, at least we come back to the hotel, watch movies, because we had to be up early.
Yeah.
The next day. So we're like, let's, maybe tonight we just chill out, because we were feeling less and less, because we were tired. You were tired you were feeling a bit from the shot, and then I was tired from having not slept. So I was like, maybe not Miami tonight. Maybe we stay in tonight and just chill out. And then
We
get up
had
in the
high hopes
morning.
for Miami.
We
Let me
did.
tell
We
you.
really thought it was going to be like a whole ass adventure.
Yeah.
And it kind of didn't play out that way. But we hung out in the room. Did we?
We took a nap.
Did we nap? We did
did.
take a nap.
No, but
separately.
even-
Two
so,
queen
hold
beds, by
on.
the way, just for emphasis.
Yo,
yes, this is a room with 2 queen beds.
Let me add, because it was funny, because when we were up at the reception desk, she was like, okay, queen bed. And we're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And we both stared at her like,
huh?
we're friends. She's like, no, it's a double queen. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's funny because
yeah.
both of us were like, oh, okay.
Right.
Good.
Well, there was the option for separate rooms.
Yeah.
But because I was your chaperone, I thought like, well, I don't know about that. Like,
yeah.
If there's something wrong, I'd rather actually be there than have to. Because what are the
Yeah.
odds we're going to get rooms next to each other? That was the other thing.
I
I'm like,
think
we could be on different floors.
I think it did have a door. It had a connecting door,
Did
which
it?
I thought that
Oh.
was cool.
Maybe.
I mean, it was a nice option, but it was more comforting,
Well, I just
having-
thought like if there was any reason, I thought like why should at least be close? Because
Yeah.
it's better being woken up in the same room than like getting a call and having to piece yourself together and run to another room
Yeah.
kind of thing. So, but since 2 queen beds was an option, we napped separately just before anybody gets. We all know the internet is fair and just and interprets things the
know.
right way. But anyway, we took naps and then it was like, let's order some dinner and let's go shopping for some snacks. So we have some stuff in the hotel room like for the next couple of days. And we went out to Target because there was one nearby. Yeah,
Whole
there was
Foods.
one. Yeah, we went to Target and Whole Foods. Like they were like plazas next to each other. Like everything
Yeah.
was close. That's the thing. Like people say, how was Florida? I was like, it was kind of like everywhere else.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of shopping plazas. there was the beach.
And the Target was cool. No, not Target. The Whole Foods was cool though, because they have like an elevator thing for your shopping cart.
Oh, the first one,
that was really cool.
The first one we stopped at, yeah, because it was the parking was on one level and then the store was upstairs.
Yeah. And
the parking was upstairs. The store was downstairs. So we had a cart full of stuff. I did literally get a case of Liquid Death because they had it. Because I'm like, well, I'm not just going to drink water. Like, I need something. I'm not going to get soda or anything like that. So this is my kind of go-to drink. So I did buy a case. And you were laughing at me as I'm walking up the restaurant. Because I'm like, I woke up like a hunter with a fresh kill. Like, I got it on my shoulder, case of Liquid Death. Which is only 8 cans, by the way. It's nothing. Like, over 3 days, that's not too much. And at 20 calories a can, it's not like excessive either. But it's a free plug. Again, Liquid Death, you're welcome. But anyway, we're at Target and we're picking out snacks. And you were really aggressive about picking up snacks. You're just like, no, let's get chips. No, let's get gummies.
Yeah.
No, let's get that. And then while we're there, all of a sudden your energy level just dropped. And you're like, I'm feeling kind of nauseous.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you want to get like some Dramamine or something like that? Like for nausea? Because I'm like, I don't know what. Because people take Dramamine like when they fly. They sell it like crazy in the airport. And I said, do you want to take something like that for nausea? And you're like, I want to go. I just want to go back to the hotel and go to bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And we had just ordered, I think right before we left, we'd ordered food. But I was like, okay, well, I'll go pick up the food.
Yes.
We ordered dinner from Rocco's Tacos. And I said, all right, well, you cool out. I'll go pick up dinner and then come back. So dropped you at the hotel, went back to basically that, like, it was actually a little further than the shopping plaza. It was like 15 minutes away.
It gets hazy because I remember I couldn't even eat that night.
No,
that was melatonin night.
Well, that's what happened. You were just like, I don't feel so good. Like I feel like I need to sleep this off. So then I was like, okay. So I put your tacos in the fridge, which was like a file cabinet drawer. That was another thing. The fridge was weird. It didn't have a door. It literally pulled out like a drawer in a filing cabinet. I was like, that's an interesting
with no freezer.
Yeah, no freezer.
Because I wanted ice
no
cream.
No freezer, no microwave. I'm like, what kind of... Like, this is a resort. It's supposed to be a resort.
Yeah,
Resort's
fancy.
in the name. And like, where are the basic accoutrements? So I put your tacos in the fridge and I ran out I went back to Whole Foods because it was nearby because I knew, I was like, oh, let me get her the melatonin that I take. Because there's like a little... They sell a travel pack with 10 gummies. So I said, if she brings it home, at least she can bring it in a bag. Because I was trying to be conscientious about that. I'm like, I can't fly back with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, well, let me get those. And I think I gave you like 3. Which was
I have no
fine.
idea.
I think it was, each gummy was like 3 milligrams. But I'm like, if it's going to knock, like 9 milligrams, cool. Like it's going to knock her out and you won't be a zombie. And frankly, it doesn't matter if you were a zombie on Tuesday because you were donating anyway. So it's not like you need, to have your wits about you. So you're going to be wired up all day.
What I do remember was me telling you, like, I don't feel, I needed ginger ale, something with ginger because ginger does help nausea, ginger, mint. Things like that. And
yes, that was actually the reason I went to Whole Foods. That's right. Because I got you legit ginger ale with ginger in it.
Yes.
As opposed to like
he got
Canada
me
Dry
a bougie ginger ale. It was perfect. So he went and I remember texting him like I needed something because by then I had a headache. I was nauseous. I can't. I wasn't me. I can't describe the feeling because there just are no words.
You were out of it. Yeah,
it
you
was
were just
complete.
You were out of it. And
that was terrible.
Yeah.
But it was more the migraine. Like I had to take a cold towel. I put it in the fridge, and then I put it on my face, and I put pillows all. I needed just pressure because all this hurt. So I just put pillows on my face. I put a cold towel first, pillows on my face.
Yeah, I come back with the ginger ale and the melatonin, and Ash has built a pillow for it.
Yeah. I took 2 of his pillows.
Yeah, I only sleep with 1 pillow anyway. So I said that when we got to the hotel room because I looked and there's like 19 pillows on each bed. And I'm like, I sleep with 1 pillow. Like if you need any of these others, if you want to build like a pillow Jacob, like to spoon with while you're asleep, like you can do that. Because I need 1 pillow. I'm good. Like I'm a very
I took them all.
basic man. Yeah, she took all of them.
I took them all.
So she built a pillow for it basically and was hiding in a pillow for it when I came back. So like I said, I got the melatonin. A hand comes out from in between pillows and I put 3 gummies.
I remember going like this.
Yeah. Like a hand comes out and does this.
And then you see it slowly go back in.
Yep. Oh, it was funny. And I just put a ginger ale on the nightstand that was kind of between the beds. And I said, like, all right, I'm gonna take off because it wasn't that. It was like 9 o'clock, 9:30.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't super late. And I'd taken a nap, so I was feeling refreshed, and I wasn't gonna stay up crazy late anyway. But I was like, well, I want to eat. And, at least go outside, get some air. Now, it was still humid. It was still like 85 at night. And it was humid. But I said, let me go outside. So I literally, the resort was facing the beach. Like, literally could see the beach.
Yeah, it was
we
beautiful.
didn't have a view of the beach from the room. But you walk across, I guess it's Ocean Avenue. I want to say is what it is in Jersey. It's probably called that in Florida. But you cross the street and you're at the beach, and there are benches along the sidewalk there. So I sat on a bench and kind of looked at the resort.
It was beautiful.
And ate my tacos, and then took a little walk up Atlantic Avenue, which is like the main drag there, which is kind of like any main road. I mean, every little beach town in Jersey, same thing. There's like that main drag with all the, kind of mom and pop shops and all that, and a Starbucks in there for good measure. And I walked along there for a little bit. There wasn't a lot of stuff open. I mean, it's a Monday night, but I said, well, let me walk and at least see kind of what's going on here, because maybe tomorrow night or maybe Wednesday afternoon, we'll make some time. And went back to the room and was definitely in bed by midnight. And you were knocked out. You were completely knocked out when I came back. So I came in quietly. I
still heard you.
Did you?
But not enough to wake up. But I think that's the thing with me. I don't know if it's just mom me or wife me, because if Jacob goes out, I don't fall into like that deep sleep until he comes home and he's safe.
Right.
So, and then the second night, I remember that, because when you came, I was just like, all right. And then I fell asleep.
Well, you hear the hotel doors aren't exactly quiet either.
Yeah.
So you're like, opening the door. So that's going to do it too. That'll wake anybody up. But yeah, I just came in.
And that's where you found the retro game store.
I did.
The arcade.
I did. Well, I saw it was there, but I think they were closed or near closing.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to hit that thing one of these in the next 2 days. I got to see what that's about, because that's totally my thing. But went to bed because we had to be up. You were getting picked up, I think, at 8:30. So we were getting up at 7 or 7:30 because we were going to try to eat.
I think 8 o'clock.
Was it 8 o'clock? Okay, so we were getting up at 7 then.
Yeah.
And so I fell asleep pretty easily. It didn't take me long to fall asleep in the room. And next thing I know, good morning. And like,
I opened up the curtains like, whoosh.
Yeah.
Whoosh. Good morning.
Yeah.
Sun is
curtains
shining.
are open. All of a sudden, Ash is like how she is right now. And I'm like, see, melatonin's magic, isn't it?
Oh, man.
But I did not expect that at all. But she was kind of like back to normal. And I said, okay, this is going to be all right. Look at her. She's chipper. I'm glad, she, unfortunately, we weren't going to make it downstairs to breakfast, which turns out wasn't included anyway.
Yeah.
We had to buy breakfast separately. But you're like, nah, let's just get it together. And, you were getting picked up. I was going to be driving and meeting you there.
Yeah.
But again, I'm horrible without breakfast. So I stopped at, there was a Wawa 10 minutes away. So I went there and got myself a breakfast sandwich and then went to the facility. The ladies at the facility were great.
Yes.
They were all super friendly, helpful. They had stuff all set up. Like they literally had snacks in a fridge full of like drinks and
oh yeah, we took advantage. I was eating.
So same. Well, I was just sitting there all day while you were donating.
Yeah.
But they give you the shots and you kind of commiserated with the nurse about the shot. Like, oh yeah, that's the worst one. The day 4 one. She's like, but today you're gonna feel it too. On top of the donation, you're gonna feel kind of so tonight.
And I did.
You totally did.
Yeah.
And basically you were there for 5 hours. You were hooked up to the machine.
I think it was hooked up for 5 and we left around 6 hours, right?
Yeah, because I got there and you were doing, I guess, the pre-interview, whatever the kind of prep was. And then you came back out and then they had your little cubicle ready.
Yeah. So they have it where it's just you're in this, what is it, like a little 4x4. They have a small TV there, a little bigger.
There was a TV, there was a couch. So I was sitting on the couch a lot of the time.
And then I have like this lounger type of.
Yeah.
I don't want to say bed, but it's like...
It's nicer than when you go to the doctor's office, like the exam table that's just kind of like angled back. It's nicer than that because it's got armrests and everything. It's kind of like this if it extended up and she was actually able to extend her legs. It's kind of chair like this, but it's also angled back, surrounded by machines, of course. So they were drawing...
Yeah, I was going to say, so let's talk about the machine and how like...
Yeah, so the donation...
hooked up.
And we got some footage of this. This is where the footage gets spliced in. The donation was being taken from her left arm, going out into the machine, sorting out the plasma, and then sending the blood back into the right arm.
Yes.
So she's laying there, arms kind of splayed out for about 5 hours.
The first half hour, I had to squeeze that pressure ball.
Yes, you did, because they got to get the blood flow. See, I've donated plasma before, so that is, you do need to kind of like make a fist just for the sake of keeping the blood pumping enough to, so your body keeps...
I feel like I have phantom pain right now.
Just talking about it?
Yeah.
Really? It's like,
I feel like I have phantom pain.
It's like PTSD.
Yes.
Thinking about it.
Okay, so I am here. Donation. Right? Guess who's with me?
I'm in charge of her well-being. Can you believe this? Yeah, even she's laughing about it.
Chris has been a great companion.
When I've done the plasma donation, it's like an hour tops. I was usually done in like 45 minutes. I mean, it depends. Some people take forever. Just depends how your circulation is, how much you're tightening your fist.
What's crazy is that I felt. Remember when she would come up and adjust the needle?
Mm-hmm.
There are times where I felt my vein rattle.
Ooh.
And I told her, I'm like, it feels like a vibration. She said, oh, the needle's hitting it was hitting something. So she would have to go in and fix it. And I was just like,
and every time the
man.
machine beeps, Ash is just like, what's that? What's going on?
I know the anxiety was all time high.
Yeah, and I'm
because like 3 nurses came in, like when it wouldn't stop beeping, they're like opening the door, like, what's going on? And I'm like, okay, should I be worried?
Nurses
and then
kept
they're
coming
just,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, because they had to adjust the needle a couple of times. Obviously, they can't remove it and then reinsert it, so they had to
Oh God, that would have been
adjust
brutal.
it a few times. Oh, exactly. So they had to adjust it as it was in, which, I mean, over that amount of time, it's going to move a little bit. Whether your arm's going to shift or something's going to move, even though it's taped in place. It's kind of expected that something's going to move around. I mean, they weren't panicked at all. So there was nothing abnormal about what was going on. But since neither one of us had experienced this before, we're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's happening? So
Every time it beeped, I'm like, fuck, she's going to touch the needle. Oh.
The donation started about 9:30, and then you were done at 2:30.
9, 10.
In between, we got some food from Cheesecake Factory, which was nice.
Yes.
Which you barely ate because you just kind of weren't up for it.
I ate half of the salmon.
Yeah.
Half.
You were smart. I forget what I got. I got some kind of like flatbread pizza or something like that. There was kind of like a limited menu. They probably have a dollar amount, like a limit.
I couldn't even eat the cheesecake.
No, you even got a slice of cheesecake, and they offered me one. I was just like, nah, let her have the cheesecake. She's donating.
Should have ate the cheesecake.
Yeah. Well, but one of us should have eaten the cheesecake because
Yeah.
I ended up in the trash on Wednesday. And I was mad because I wanted that cheesecake on Tuesday night. But I was like, if she wakes up before me and she wants to house that cheesecake, and so I ate it, I was like, I'm going to get kicked
It
in
would
the
have been
nuts.
fine. It would have been fine.
Well, I know, but in my head, just like I was looking for, like you were living for that cheesecake. Once you can have cheesecake. So I was like, I don't want to take that away from her. She's not feeling well.
Can you imagine when you give the next morning, Chris?
Yeah.
You ate my cheesecake.
Well, no, when Ash
my
gets
fucking
mad,
cheesecake.
you will never see this on camera, although I have videos, should things ever get serious. I got your kryptonite. Ash gets intense. When she gets mad,
Yeah.
she said a couple of times,
Very
Ash
Puerto
pointed finger at
Rican.
me, I'm going to F you up.
I didn't do that.
Yes,
I
you
did
did.
that.
Not on the trip, but you've done that.
Oh, boy.
I have videos to prove it.
Was
I'm
I
not going to
drinking?
show anybody.
I think I was drinking.
Probably.
Maybe. This is why we don't drink.
Yeah, this is why you don't drink.
I'm very intense when I'm angry.
Yeah, right.
And it's not even a real angry if I say I'm gonna fuck you up. Because if I say I'm gonna fuck you up, I'm throwing
Oh,
something
see, I was
first.
keeping it clean. I thought this was a clean shit. Never mind. It's like,
Half and half.
All
It's, this is our friends or family are going to wonder what happened. So this is us being us.
Fair enough.
So.
But
Yep.
we got out of there when everything was all said and done, like took photos. Then you put a pin in a map to show where you're from.
Yeah.
Like they had a whole map of the U.S., which was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Got a lot of photos, a photo of you with your fluids, which has to be the thumbnail for this episode. We were out of there about 3:00 and you just wanted a nap.
Yeah.
So.
See, but I feel like during that time after I took the nap is when I start feeling progressively worse.
You were okay when you immediately woke up from the nap. I think the nap refreshed you a little bit, but at that point, I think the shot was kicking in and your body was kind of in recovery mode from the donation part. And we had plans. We're meeting up with 2 of my cousins for dinner that night. And you had said
I want to
me,
redo. I say it all the time. I want to redo.
we're going to Florida again.
We're going to. I want to redo.
We were meeting up with them at like 6:30, something
Yeah.
like that. And you had said to me, like, because I reached out to my cousins, because I'd never been to Florida. And so I always see them when they come up here to visit, for Christmas, Thanksgiving, or whatever. So I thought, this is going to be fun to see them on their turf, especially because we're in the neighborhood, because the West Palm is like a half hour, if that, maybe 20 minutes from Delray Beach. So we were meeting up for dinner. And you had said, like, if I don't feel up to it, you go have dinner with your cousins. Like, I'll stay there. I'll be fine. But I don't want you to miss out on seeing me. I was like, okay. But you were up for it. So we went to the restaurant. It's a very cool restaurant called Two Georges, which was right on the water, which was crazy because, again, another free plug. But because it's on the water, there are fishing boats that go out. So a boat can literally pull up and dock by the restaurant. And they have a catch and cook policy where if you want your fish cooked, I think it was on the menu, it was up to a pound was to cook the fish was $15. So if you literally caught catfish, there were a lot of catfish around there.
Yeah.
So if you caught like a catfish or something like that and you wanted it cooked by the restaurant, they would do that. So you can dock your boat and have your catch cooked. It was awesome, actually. I mean, I don't fish, but I was like, that's pretty cool that they do that. And also very smart, like business wise, because I'm like, duh, people are going to want.
Yeah, they don't have to buy their own meat.
Exactly. And you still make a couple of bucks for grilling it up. But the restaurant was great. My cousins were there was obviously a lot of questions about you because they were just blown away by the fact that you were donating. at all.
And I
you know,
loved
and the
meeting
whole
them.
thing.
They were really nice.
Oh,
It was really nice.
And the feeling was
I
mutual.
just wish
they
that I
liked it.
was 100%. That's why I'm like, I want to
Of
redo.
course.
I told you was it the next? No, it was a week later. I'm like, Chris, I want to redo.
Yeah, I want to redo. I want to. Yeah, I want to meet your cousins
them.
again because I wasn't myself, and I'm like, I mean, okay, but they didn't have a problem. They don't feel the same way. They were.
I just feel like it was
They were
so
happy you were up
hazy.
for it at all. You
Yeah.
know, just given everything. So.
It was
But
cool.
yeah, at a point you were kind of fading.
Yeah,
know,
that's
and
a good way to put it. Fading. It was just
and
like
we'd had dinner. You were kind of like, yeah, you were getting fatigued. So again, you're just like, I just want to go back to. I just want to get in bed. Just go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And now it's earlier. I mean, the sun was still up, so it was maybe.
Yeah.
We met them at 6:30. So it's like maybe 8:30. We get back to the hotel, and you're like, I just want to go to bed. And I was just like, well, I think I laid out the melatonin gummies for you. I was like, well, when you're ready, here you go. Here's a ginger ale.
here's
you
your
know.
melatonin.
Yeah. Latest. And then I took off. No, but I walked Atlantic Avenue and I hit up Silver Ball Retro Arcade, which now the cool thing about that, and we're just giving away free plugs here on Xposed with Ash, but they are Rutgers alumni
Really?
and Jersey people. They're
Get
Jerseyans
out.
who
That's
moved down there.
cool.
So there was a lot of Jersey oriented decor. There was a recreation of Tilly's from Asbury Park. There was a lot of Rutgers stuff all around. So they are Jersey Shore people who moved down to Florida and opened this retro arcade, which, I mean, this place had pinball machines from like the 60s up to now.
Wow.
It was crazy. And I love pinball. Like, that's what I will hit at every arcade. That's why I like going down to Ocean City in New Jersey, because they have a lot of pinball machines in the arcades there. Not so much, in like Point Pleasant or the kind of boardwalks up here.
Right.
But Ocean City is a great pinball arcade. It was a lot of retro games. The restaurant wasn't really open at the point when I got there, but they had a bar. It's one of those things where you get a wristband, $20, and you play all day.
Oh, see, that's cool.
So at a point, it was 9 or 10. I was there for the last hour they were open, and it was $10. So I was
Okay.
like, okay, cool. That's fine. I will play $10 worth of games, because it was like 15 minutes before the hour. So I said, well, I'll just wait, because if it's going to be half price, like, that's cool.
Yeah, might as well.
I'll still have an hour worth of play. And yeah, I walked around this place, and it was really, really awesome. And I was really obviously endeared because of the Jersey connection, because I was just like, okay, this place is legit.
What are the odds that we're coming from Jersey to Florida and then
Well,
you
it's-
find Jersey in Florida?
I mean, anecdotally, a lot of people, if they don't stick around in Jersey, they go to Florida. Like, so many people I went to high school with, like, went to Florida, went to college in Florida or something like that. I mean, that's how my cousin ended up down there. He went to Florida State and then just never came back to Jersey.
Oh, wow.
He moved down there at 18 to go to college and just stayed there, because he was more willing to deal with the humidity and hurricanes than winter. So that was the trade-off. And allergies too. Is we all have these, the Ebola sinuses are a real thing in our family. And he was like, my allergies do not bother me nearly as much here, because
Oh,
you don't have the
that's
pollen problem and all of that. So he's like, I'd rather deal with the humidity, and that's cool. But there are a lot of people who move down, and obviously a lot of people retire from New Jersey and New York will head down to Florida to retire. So I knew anecdotally there were people down there from up here,
Yeah.
from our area, but to actually walk into this retro arcade, I was just like, this is awesome. So that was a great time for me. And then just kind of walking up and down Atlantic and take it in. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff open. There were some restaurants. There was one restaurant, which was at that hour was just a bar, but they had live music every night. So there was a cover band playing,
Oh, that's
which was
nice.
pretty good. And it was what, in my head, I'm thinking like, how Chris exists in the multiverse. So I was like, is there a version of Chris that moves down to Florida and just plays in a cover band on the beach? Like, it may be.
That sounds really dope.
There's a version of Chris.
I feel like that's a vibe if you would do
honestly,
something like
yeah.
that.
Well, there was a point early on, not to make this about me, but I think about this stuff because after I finished high school, I had a cousin, who married into the family. Like, we weren't blood relatives. He married my cousin. But they lived out in Vegas, and he did conducting and a lot of live shows and whatnot. So there was a little window where I considered, after graduating high school, rather than going to community college, I was just like, maybe I go out to Vegas and I try to gig and like get my chops up and perform and do that. Like, not as a career move necessarily, but like just go out there as a working musician for a year or 2 or 3 and like see what opportunities come my way.
Right.
That was a realistic possibility at that point. So there's a version of Chris somewhere in the multiverse where Chris moves to Vegas and then his life is completely different. Like at 18, we'll see. But it obviously didn't play out that way. But anyway, it was awesome to see kind of how lively it was on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
That part was cool because it wasn't full blown summer yet. Because like here,
Yeah, May,
Memorial Day
spring.
weekend is when it really kicks off, and this is 2 weeks prior. So it was good to see that the place was like that lively and people were out like that. And I came back to the room, and you were knocked out. And we were up early again for the third day in a row. So now I'm starting to get hazy because we want to see the sunrise. Well, right by the beach.
That's
we
right.
will get up
That's
and we will
right.
see the sunrise. We're just going to get up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the
street.
time of events. It does get hazy.
It does.
That's right.
Well, me getting up that early 3 days in a row is a lot. Like to get up at, I mean, I was awake at 3:30, but with the idea of getting up at 5 and then getting up at 7. And I think we were up at like 5:45 because I think the sun rose at like, 6:10 or something like that. So we want to make sure we were there.
Whenever I'm
it.
by a beach, I have to be by water.
I get it. Well,
that made no sense. Whenever I'm by a beach, I have to see the sunrise.
Wow. That's going to get used for something. Whenever I'm by the
Probably.
beach, I need to be by the water. No, but I've seen a bunch of sunsets. Particularly down in Cape May, the southernmost point of New Jersey. There's Sunset Beach down there, which is great, but never seen a sunrise over the ocean. So I was like, this would be perfect. Literally in the stretch of horizon where the sun is coming up, clouds. So we watched it get lighter. We didn't see the actual sunrise. We sat there, but we talked and we did, we got into some deep stuff. We got into some personal history stuff and, talked about our journeys here and there.
It was a good talk.
We deepened our friendship a bit that morning, but we didn't actually get to see the sunrise, but that was the hope. And, so that was that. Even that didn't play out the way we hoped.
I know the whole trip. It's one of those where you just have to go with the flow because.
Yeah. And I think I went back to bed for like an hour or something like that because I was still kind of wiped out.
I can't even remember.
And you were okay.
What was I doing?
I don't know. You're probably FaceTiming with Jacob.
I was probably reading a book. I didn't get to read that whole time, which is
that's
odd
true. Yeah,
because I read every day.
You woke up fine in the mornings.
Yeah.
And granted, you were getting shot that day, so I'd kind of said to you, I was like, well, today will probably be the most normal day you've had in the last week practically because you're not getting any shots. Your body's, I'm sure, still recovering from the donation, but you should be okay.
Yeah.
And...
Oh, no, I took a nap too. I think
you?
I was reading and then I took a nap and then my alarm woke me up. Your alarm didn't work during this trip.
Yeah, that was the annoying part, actually.
If I depended on that, we would have been screwed.
We really would have been. Because since then, my alarm just vibrates. My phone just vibrates. I have it set to vibrate because I put my phone on my nightstand when I go to bed, so you can't help it hear, right next to your head. But now, since then, it vibrates and there's a ringtone.
Okay.
So now the alarm it's double reinforced because of that trip. Because it was when we took a nap on Monday when we got there, it didn't go off.
Yeah.
And so we slept a little longer than we planned because I set an alarm and you didn't. But we're like, well, let's grab something to eat. We got a little bit of time. I was like, let's explore Atlantic Avenue, before we head to.
That's right.
Head
We
to
did
the airport.
explore.
Oh, because we woke up and the flight was delayed. That's right. We were supposed to fly at 5 p.m. And woke up, you're like, fucking flight was delayed again. Like, now we're not leaving till 6. And we already made the arrangements. Like, when we rented the rental car,
so we had
return
to give
time
it
is 3
back.
p.m. Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, the last day, I think the last day wore on our nerves a little bit. The last day, it was just like delayed.
In part because we had all this food that we bought.
That's right. I forgot about that. The food that I didn't get to eat.
Yeah, there was so much unopened food. It was crazy. So I said, well, look, we can't fly with this. We need to find a food bank to donate this.
And that was genius.
I'm
not
not throwing all this food out. Literally
yeah.
like, the paper bags, every other state. Well, no, I don't know. No, I don't think they have them in New Jersey anymore. But like full-size paper bags, like they have at Whole Foods in every other state. Like we had 2 of those, and they were full of unopened food.
Yeah.
Like snacks and drinks and bottles of water and stuff like that. Stuff we just didn't get to. And I said, we got to find a food bank to drop the stuff off. And we had the time. Because we didn't have to be at the airport till 3. We were like 30, 40 minutes from the airport. So I said, we got to find somewhere to donate it. Even finding that place, because it was in like this big complex.
Well, the first one that we went to wasn't a legit place. It was a closed down restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, that was, the GPS misguided us.
Yeah.
It was literally just like this. It was like the county food bank or something. And it was like a Cuban restaurant that had closed down.
Yeah.
So it's just like for lease and a phone number on the front door. I'm like, okay, not the place we thought. So we had to drive to a further one and they even find the entrance to that, which was very discreet to say the least. I'm being nice about it. And then donated that. And the woman was actually from New York. She was actually from Rockland County, so just above just above Jersey. So she knew. And she obviously knew.
Yeah, I stayed in the car when Chris was doing all of this. I was in the car, like, go ahead, just go.
Yeah, go. Errand boy, go take care of this. I'm just going to chill out in the car and enjoy not moving and not being anxious because of your driving.
The long time. Yo, we up in Boynton Beach, Florida. Down in Boynton Beach, Florida. Hanging out.
My arm hurts.
Donating food.
Yeah, we just donated food.
Ash is feeling sick.
Back home.
Gonna pull over on the side of the road. Ash gonna vomit.
I'm not vomiting. That's today. That was yesterday. Or the day before.
That was the day before. That's right.
Yeah. But you want to
Anyway.
know something crazy? So when we were in the car and we were doing the vlog videos, the vlog video from donation versus the vlog video in the car after donation, my skin was significantly pale. Like, I didn't notice it until I posted it the
Really?
other day. It was like I looked sick. I looked like somebody just sucked the life
Now
out
I'm
of
gonna
me.
have to compare when I cut the footage into this.
So
I'm
we're
gonna have to look
gonna
and see.
compare because
Yeah.
you could see when it was when we're like, oh, vlog time and just playing around.
Mocking Ugo.
And,
imitating Ugo, not mocking him.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. I'm like, I'm sending this to Ugo, and you're like, go ahead.
I was like, yeah, he's gonna laugh it
It's
off.
like the brother, the brother / sisterhood of our Bravery
Yes,
family is
the siblinghood.
it's so funny. I love it. It's like we have such a good family here, and yeah. So those two videos, you could see the difference. So I'm like, wow, like I was really pale.
Wow.
And I did vomit. I think the night of donation, or was it?
It was Tuesday. It was Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Because you were like, cover your ears. I'm like, what? And then
Yeah.
she walks into the bathroom. And I
Yep.
was like, so I'm literally going like,
Yeah, it was.
You know.
It took a toll on me. I was vomiting.
Yeah.
I was taking cold showers left and right to try and ease that nausea.
Well, that's also why we were flying back the day after, because they want to keep you local for 24 hours
Yeah.
after donation, just because that's the time when, long story short, if something does happen as a result of donation, it's most likely to happen within the first 24 hours, was basically how they put it to us.
Which kind of, for me, it happened 72 hours after. But
Well, let's just to
yeah,
wrap it up,
we're like kind of
to get home first. Yeah, just for
Yeah.
the sake of, because we're also pushing up against an hour, or maybe we're there. But yeah, so we drove around a little, but there wasn't a lot happening. Oh, there was a sudden thunderstorm out of nowhere. It started raining buckets. It was
That's when my
pouring.
anxiety started getting crazy.
Yeah, so you started
because
getting more anxious because we're driving. I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, I wasn't speeding. I was driving very.
You were weaving.
I was weaving. I was moving in and out of lanes around slow ass drivers. I wasn't weaving.
Just slow down. Like, why do you have to
It wasn't
weave?
Mario Kart. Like, it wasn't like it darting
Oh
in and
my
out
God.
of lanes. I was moving around people who were driving slowly. Like, but the rain was quick. It was like 20 minutes of pouring, and then it
Yeah.
just stopped. But there's still people driving super slow, and
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. And also, at that point, I just wanted to get out of this rental car.
Yeah.
And, you know, get back to driving my car because I was uncomfortable, and even the rain didn't clean this car up. But you know, listen, you don't take a rental car to the car wash. For the same reason you don't go down on a hooker. What? Same logic. That's the same logic.
This is Chris, everybody.
Yeah, it is. It's not your ride. Why clean it up?
Oh my goodness. All right, so we go to the
The
airport.
rain we're skipping
So
around. Okay.
we go to
Enough dirty jokes from this guy. Yeah, we go to the airport. We get delayed another hour. Now we're flying at 7.
8:00. I think we were our
Ultimately,
departure.
we got 3 delays. Each one was an hour. So we were supposed to fly at 5.
And I remember I got snippy with Jacob because he FaceTimed me. We get to the. It said that we got delayed again at the same time that he's calling. So I'm already frustrated. I'm like, so he's calling. Where are you? I'm at the airport. Oh, so what? Like, it was just questions. I'm like, I don't got time for this.
Yeah.
Like, I went off. Poor Jacob.
You got snippy, yeah.
I got
But
really snippy.
I get that to a degree because it's like, you know, we're annoyed that we need to fly, but like instead of getting to Newark to pick us up at 8, he's got to come at 11 now.
Yeah.
Which also means the kids are going to be up till 11, which is, I'm sure, is abnormal. I'm sure you don't let your kids stay up that late. So I realize it throws the whole day off on his end, but yeah, like compared to how annoyed we were that we were going to be sitting in the airport for at that point.
Hours.
Yeah, like we got back to, by the time we dropped off the rental car, because we'll drop that off at 3:00. We were at the airport by 3:30. So I mean, we're going to spend like 4 hours in the airport.
Yep.
And at a point, I was getting hungry, so I was
You
like, I gotta eat
disappeared.
something. I did. Well, I just
We-
went to walk because I just can't sit there because I'll get too annoyed. Same,
Yeah.
you know, when we were waiting to fly out from Newark, I was just like, I got to walk around. Like, I
Yeah.
can't just sit here and like, because we're gonna be sitting for 3 hours on the plane anyway.
Yeah, Chris.
So that's also me. I get antsy.
So Chris, we dropped the bags off, sit down. Chris is like, I'm gonna get you some water. So I'm like, all right. And I was really waiting for the water. So an hour passed. So I sent the SpongeBob meme where it's like water, like the episode with Sandy where he's like water would be nice.
Just see if somebody could give me a cup of water. And there was a long line at Starbucks because I knew Starbucks would probably do it. And I was like, okay, well I can't.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of clotted around, you know, Starbucks. So I was like, okay, I can't go in there. Let me walk elsewhere. You know, further, because Terminal A in Newark is now beautiful. They redid it.
Yeah.
And it's huge and there's a lot more stuff. So I was
But
like, well, let
this
me walk
was-
and see.
Coming from Florida back to Newark.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? You're right. It was.
Yeah.
Because they kept changing gates. So we kept
They did change gates.
We moved around like 3 times for the flight home. So that in my head, I kind of conflated Newark and Fort Lauderdale.
It gets hazy.
But yeah, it does. Well, because
hazy.
we're there for 4 hours. I was like, we're in the airport longer than we're going to be actually on the plane. It's crazy.
After 3 hours of delays, we're finally boarding the flight home. We did it. Mission accomplished. Ash is finally feeling better. She's got the
Band.
yeah, she's got the pricks of success. I mean needles. Don't be gross, people.
Yeah, and on the plane, I think that's which movie did I watch for the first time? You made me watch it. What was it called?
I made you watch it.
Yeah, Harry Meets Sally.
When Harry Met Sally, on the way there, you never see When Harry Met Sally.
Nope.
And you're like,
I don't
something
watch
good to watch?
movies. I
She
don't watch
scrolled through like
TV.
90 movies. And you're just
And I
like,
also
don't
watched
know
the
what to
Selena
watch.
documentary. That was pretty good.
You did? Well, yeah, after When Harry Met Sally.
It is 11:30 at night, and we are finally back in Jersey.
Back. We made it.
We're exhausted. Good night.
And then we got back home, and it was just, again, I just wanted to like shower and go to bed, which is funny. You dropped me off. I get my stuff inside. I'm like, I'm hungry again. So I drove out to Quick Check and got a sandwich and came back. And I'm like, I'm home. I was so happy to be home because at that point, like with the weather, because the humidity was very high. It was like 90 degrees every day. So weather-wise, I was keen to come home. I didn't want to stay in Florida.
At that point, we were just like, all right, this is
like
done.
we've had enough
Let's
of
go.
Florida. Let's go.
Yep.
Florida. Now, I didn't know this until we got to the airport. We were flying home. You started saying, I think I need to reschedule my clients for tomorrow. I was like, you were going to go back to work tomorrow? You weren't even going to take a day to recover in between?
I forgot about
I was like,
that.
you need to take at least a day to recover. I figured you would take like the week off, to like reschedule.
It was complete bewilderment because you were just like, what? And I was like, yeah. I'm canceling them right now. And you're like, well, you got the time. We got a delay. So.
Yeah, well, we're sitting there. I'm like, you could personally call everybody and apologize.
Yeah.
We'll be here for 3 hours.
Yep.
But yeah, I was surprised that you were going to take a day off. And lo and behold, one day wasn't enough.
Yes.
Which was a shock to nobody except you.
Good segue for that one. So, all right. I'm notorious for get up, go, let's get this done, let's get that done. Who needs this? Do you need that? I'm going to pick up coffee for you on the way here. Like, I'm known for just being on the go. So going back to work was nothing. It's a simple job to me. And I almost gave myself a heart attack. Legit.
on Friday.
On Friday.
Because Friday you kept your appointments.
Yes. Friday I kept my appointments. Thursday I took off, and I still didn't lay down how I should have. I was cleaning my room. So
you went back to your routine.
I went back to my routine.
You went home and you went back to the mom routine, the wife routine, the homemaker, housekeeper routine. Yeah.
That Friday, the day started off fine. Everything was fine. And I just couldn't catch my breath. I always felt winded. So I'm like, all right, I guess this is just a part of it. And then later on during the day, my chest started getting tight. So I'm like, I don't feel anxious. I know when I'm anxious. Mm-hmm. Every time I'm in a car, I get anxious. So I'm like, okay, keep an eye on it. Let me just sit down, take deep breaths, meditate, calm myself. And as the day kept going, I'm like, yeah, it's getting tighter. So I text the coordinator. I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to go to urgent care after work. And then she's like, okay, well, what are your symptoms? And I was like, well, I can't catch my breath. My chest is tight. I'm feeling tired, but that's to be expected, right? Because I was told I'm going to be tired for a few days. So
yeah, they said it was going to take like 5 days for you to fully recover.
Get a shot of espresso and then you're good. So she's just like, well, based off of your symptoms, I think you should go to the emergency department. So I was like, okay. I still finished my day. I had to finish my clients because Memorial Day weekend's coming up. And I'm like, yeah, I have like a good 3-4 clients. I'll wait till I'm done. So man, it was just, I laugh about it because I'm like, you dumbass. Because it was just, it was that intense where you never think it'll be you. And
of course. And look, I'm guilty of it too. The idea like, I'm just going to push through this. I'll be
fine. Yeah. So I finished my clients and then I'm driving to the hospital, and it's a hospital closer to my home just because convenience. I'm always thinking about convenience. And as I'm driving, I felt like this part of my face down to my shoulder get numb. And then this part of my lips from out tingling and getting numb. So it's traveling. So I'm like, oh shit, this is real. So I'm like, okay, let me just keep breathing, calm myself down, try not to panic. It's just we're on the way there anyway. So whatever. So I'm calling my husband, and my son has my phone. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna knock this kid out. So I'm calling. He just hits the button straight to voicemail. Sometimes, if you call enough, sometimes he'll pick up, and you have to hurry up and say, "Give the phone to Daddy right now," and then he'll just go and wake him up and give him the phone. And at that point, my daughter she has therapy every Fridays. I'm huge on therapy. Kids need therapy. We need therapy. Everybody. So she had her therapy appointment Friday. I didn't want to alarm her, the therapist, but I just texted the therapist saying, "Hey, when she's done with her session, tell her to wake up her dad and to call me." I didn't want to say it's important. I don't want to say it's emergency, nothing like that. So just tell him to wake up and call me. So that didn't happen. So I'm like, all right, you know what? You're a big girl. Just go to the hospital, make sure everything's good. It should be fine. So get to the hospital. They rushed me in. Based off of the symptoms, they rushed me in.
And the look, too, because I'm sure at that point, because everything was like numb, was it like drooping?
It wasn't drooping. That's because I was looking in the mirror periodically to just check to see if I was having a stroke, because you know how it just kind of...
Right. Well, even when it goes like numb, like if things aren't working, like it will start to like sag a little bit. Like you'll be able to tell with someone's eye or the corner of someone's mouth.
It was just tingling. It was very, very scary. So I go in, they check my blood pressure. They did blood work because they can tell, I guess, if your heart's compromised from blood work. I have no idea. I got rushed in. It was immediate, where it's like, take her in right now. So the first doctor, I get so frustrated with certain doctors because they look at your age and they look at what you're coming in for. And it's like, 33-year-old's not going to have a heart attack randomly. Not knowing that I just donated. I did a 5-hour process, you know? So he walks up to me and he was like, yeah, I saw your EKG, saw your blood work. Everything looks good. Has anybody in your family had a spontaneous heart attack at 33 years old? And I was like, no. He's like, okay, good, great. You're good to go. And at this point, I was like, hold the fuck up. And this is when I started getting mad. I was like, hold the fuck up. I said, here's my coordinator's number. I just donated stem cells. For a bone marrow recipient. I said, you're going to call her. You're going to find out. I said, because this isn't out of nowhere. It's not spontaneous. So he could tell I'm pissed. So I'm texting the coordinator. He's calling her. Comes back singing a whole different tune. Oh, how's this? Yeah. Asshole. I was so upset because it's like, don't dismiss. When you dismiss, that's when people die.
Totally. It's frustrating when like a doctor who's supposedly who you would trust to look out for you, or at least ask the right questions to see, like, have you done anything out of the normal as your routine?
And my face was still numb. So even if you think it's not that, and that it's possibly something else. Right. So he pushed me off to a different doctor. After he came to see me, he's like, I'm going to go consult with my boss, because he was just like, well, we see nothing wrong. I said, my face is still numb. Like, I can't feel this. So another doctor comes in. He was so much nicer. But then this is after I text one of my contacts that's a client of mine saying, hey, I'm at this hospital. She's a doctor at that hospital. And I'm like, this is what's going on. And this is why I'm happy about the community I have, because I don't ask for much. But when I do, it's like, all right, Ash is asking for a favor. She never asked for a favor. Let's see what's up. And so I did. I pulled my people. And second doctor comes, and he asked the right questions, and he held out both of his hands and he said, squeeze my hands. So I'm squeezing. He said, can you make this one tighter? I'm like, that's tight. He's like, okay. And I'm like, that's tight, right? He was like, we're just going to run some tests. So I'm like, all right. So I was so tired of saying my symptoms, because I have to text a coordinator, because this is going on their bill. Like, this is a result of, donating. And, so I'm texting her all my symptoms. So when the doctor comes, I'm like, here, this is what I'm feeling. I text her. I'm not going to keep repeating the story over and over and skip certain parts. Right. This is what I'm feeling. So he reads it. And then when he did that test, he just said, okay, he went to another nurse. He says something to her, and I see her just dart straight to me. And she's trying to find a vein. But remember, we did a 6-hour, 5 hours blood draw. So she's trying to find a vein. She can't. So she stuck me like 2 different times. So I'm like this, crying. And then that's when Jacob calls. Oh no, I skipped the part. So she's trying to stick me. She said, we think you're having a stroke. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like this, and I'm crying. And then Jacob calls. He's like, where are you? Because he still doesn't know where I'm at. He thinks I'm at work or coming home from work or late. And I'm like, I'm in the hospital. They think I'm having a stroke and I'm all alone. It was so dramatic, but not dramatic. He was like, what? You hear the phone
appropriately dramatic considering what was going on.
You see the phone fumble, right? And I get a text message, I'm on my way. So I'm texting him, who's watching the kids? I don't get an answer. So at this point, he's like, F these kids. Yeah, right? I'm going to go see my wife. And I'm like, Jacob, who's with the kids? Who's with the kids? So later on, I find out that my dad's wife, she drove all the way up from like Morristown, like that area, 40 minutes. Okay. She booked it to make sure she was with the kids. Thank God.
Nice.
And he shows up in the hospital and he's just sitting there. You could tell he was worried. And they took me for a CT scan, like all the scans, everything that they needed to do. But at the end of all of that, I should have been resting. That's what it was. You know, yes, this almost happened, but it was because I wasn't resting how I was
your
supposed
body was
to.
overtaxed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I still went to work the next day.
So what was it? Anxiety that was then
it wasn't
physically
anxiety.
doing all that to you? Like,
my heart, it took a toll on my heart. So I had to,
okay.
I had
so your
to
heart
just,
was being over. Okay.
yeah. So I had to replenish electrolytes. I had to do all of that and just enough because I'm on my feet all day.
Yeah.
So that plays a part. And
that's why I was like, just confused when you said like, I think I should reschedule my appointments tomorrow. I'm like, you were going to go back to work tomorrow?
Yeah. I think I'm superwoman sometimes.
I was looking at you like this. I'm just like, you were going to go back to work tomorrow? You out of your mind?
Yeah.
It might usually, you know, typical calm bedside manner. I was like, you crazy?
I do think I'm superwoman sometimes, but so that's what ended up happening. But what was the most alarming, and this was, I got scared straight. Excuse me, I got scared straight. Where the first doctor comes back to me after all the CT scans and everything's done, and he's just like, I need you to lie back for a second, and he's like pressing up here, upper right quadrant is liver. Right. And he was like, is there any pain? I'm like, no, but I have a high pain tolerance. So I don't know what pain means to you. It could be something dull. I don't know. And he was like, well, we got your we got your results back. And your liver enzymes are severely elevated. And I'm like, okay, what's elevated? And he was like, anything above 50 is it's potential, you know, it's dangerous. He was like, you're in the 200s.
Jesus.
So I'm like, so my liver's failing. He was like, you should see a specialist. So I was like, okay. So, you know me in Google. So I start Googling what are 200s, liver enzymes and all that. So it's like cirrhosis of the liver. If there's enough scar tissue, you know, it's that. But because they give you medicine, they gave us shots before the procedure. So that I'm sure that played a toll on it. But to look at paperwork and see elevated liver enzymes in the 200s, then my white blood cell count was still elevated because the shots were still in my system.
Of course.
And I want to say it scared me straight, where it was just like elevated liver enzymes, white blood cell count. It looked like I had cancer and my liver was failing. So seeing that, it did something to my psyche where I was like, we can't play games anymore. Like, I'm done drinking. I'm done doing everything else. Like, this is scary. It was very scary to see that. And from then, I just got into the whole, let's detox, let's do this, let's do that. And that's why I said I feel 85% okay, because we did redo blood work. And now I'm anemic. But again, it was a 5-hour blood draw. Right. So there are times where I feel weak. You know, I have to sit down and take it easy. I want to get back into my workout routine. I feel so like Magoo. Like I scrunch my stomach. Like, what is this? And even when I go to the gym with Marv, I'm like, I feel fat. He's like, you're not fat. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, calm down.
You know, so it's just, I'm trying to get back to me again. And it's just, I didn't take that time to think about, this was a major procedure. This was something huge. This was a life-saving, you know, thing that I've done. And I need to replenish myself now. I gave somebody my immune system.
Exactly.
You know, so it's going through the process has been so humbling, and it's very, very eye-opening. On like why it's so important to take care of your health, because you don't think about it until you see paperwork that says this is failing, that's failing, you're anemic, this is, you know, and it's just like, whoa, this is what's happening to me right now. This is why I don't feel well. I still get nauseous if I eat foods that I'm not supposed to eat. Of course. You know, so it's a process, and we're a month out, right? Yeah. So
pretty much. Yeah, we came
we're
back
a month out, and
yesterday.
I still have to give my body grace to heal. I know the episode that I did with Teresa, like I noticed like the water retention. I noticed that I just looked bigger than I was. So it is a process. Your body inflames when it's aggravated, and then it goes right back down when, you know. What
was amazing, I will say, though, about the process, just to follow up a little bit on the donation itself. So within a half hour of when your donation was complete, there was going to be a courier who was going to take your stem cells, pick them up, and then drive them, because your recipient was already in a, also we don't know where, but it was like 2 hours away from where we were. So they were already in the hospital ready to go. So even the coordination.
Is that what they said? I thought they said fly out.
He was getting the procedure Wednesday morning. So that's why they did your draw on Tuesday.
Wow.
So he was already in the hospital ready to receive your stem cells Wednesday morning. So yeah, and the couriers are volunteers, which is another amazing thing about this. You know, same thing with the guy who picked you up from the hotel.
Right.
You know, it was a volunteer. And even the coordination, everything that goes into that was stunning. You know, the amount, all the moving parts just to make this thing happen. And that's what I was trying to, you know, when you were feeling kind of like, I said, listen, you're saving someone's life. This man gets a new life tomorrow because of you, because of your donation.
Right.
Because your DNA is compatible with his. It's a big deal. And I realize it's only so comforting when you're uncomfortable in the moment, when you're tired, when your body feels off. Like, I know it's not. But again, I knew at some point when you were in a moment to zoom out, you can say like, oh, okay, yes, this ultimately, while it's difficult for you, nothing compared to, you know, what he's gone through. I mean, you know, it's, well, much smaller compared to it. You know, me carrying your bags through the airport, you know, when we arrived and when we departed, you know, different story. That's literally nothing compared to what you went through even. But yeah, the fact that literally the next day he was getting his procedure done. And I was even thinking about that, you know, I was getting kind of existential about it. Just like, how long has this guy been waiting to find out if there was a donor?
Yeah.
Not knowing if, you know, it's not to sound crude about it, but like not knowing if his days were numbered. Like if this was it, if he was going to find, if the donor was going to be found in time.
Crude.
Of course.
It's the reality.
But the idea that like, you know, when this guy gets informed, we have a donor, who knows where he's from, you know, maybe he's a Florida resident, maybe they'd fly him there, who knows? They only have, you know, so many of these facilities, you know, in the US. So it was, you know, you're getting this procedure Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, first day of the rest of your life kind of thing.
Oh,
it really,
yeah.
It really is, because it's like this can be the start of like where you don't know how much you have left. Now all of a sudden it's like we found something that, you know, whether or not secure, obviously we can't say, we don't know. But, you know, this guy has an extended life because of
the woman that I had on. She is a 20-year survivor because she got a bone marrow donation. Yeah. So hearing that, I was just like, wow. Yeah. Like that's beautiful. It's amazing. And I really do hope it's the same outcome.
I hope so too. More. Yeah, if not more, of course. Yeah. But having said that, of course, and I know I said to you multiple times while we were there, but even still, and with all you've gone through, with everything, I mean, I told you I should have rested, but, you know, I'm just going to let that be. You learned that the hard way. No, but with everything you went through post-donation and, you know, with still recovering to a degree, and even seeing you through the whole process, of course, I am very proud of you for doing this.
Thank you.
For going years ago to try to be the match, to hopefully be able to donate, be compatible enough of a donor for somebody.
Yeah.
And then years later, that's the thing, because it was a very long period in between finding out that you were a match for somebody and then having to piece your life. And obviously your life's a lot different now than it was 10 years ago. So now it was, okay, how can I make this work? And to be honest, like, there's a little bit of footage that everyone has seen throughout the course of this episode. The thought was to do like more of a full documentary, like you and Mina had said, like you and I talked about, like, oh, we're going to film this. I was like, we're going to whack together like a 20-minute documentary or something like this will be great. But because you weren't feeling well, I will say for my part, because you said, why weren't you filming this? Why didn't you film that? I was like, you were feeling bad. Are you lying in bed?
I was like, record it. Record the hand coming out the pillows going like this. Like,
but after the fact you said that. But here's the thing. For me, again, this I'll admit this is an evolved part of me, because once upon a time I would have been like, this is great footage. No matter how uncomfortable the person was, I would have just been thinking about the show, so to speak.
Yeah.
I would have been geared toward like, oh, let me get this on camera. Let me record this just to see. And because you weren't feeling well, I was trying to be conscientious enough to say like, she's not going to want to look back at this. And also she's not going to want to show the negative side of donation, the fatigue, the being out of it. Like she's not going to want to be, she doesn't want it to seem off-putting. You know, you don't want to put people off of donating because it's a life-saving
it's life-saving
donation. So I was hesitant because you weren't feeling well. If it had gone the way we thought it was going to go, then it would have been fine. It's like, here's us in Miami the night before donation,
Yeah.
We got,
but that goes to show it's
cheersing, beverages with the little umbrellas in them and stuff like that. Like, it'd be great. I mean, yours would have been virgin. Mine would have not been. But, had it played out that way, that's fine. But I didn't want to film nearly as much because of how uncomfortable you were. Because I thought, this is not the image you want to portray. And I don't know, especially you not feeling great. I was reluctant to do that. And I'm not sorry about it, but just as a fuller explanation to you, which I've told you and to everybody else, like, we got bits and pieces, and you've seen some of the bits and pieces. I mean, the pillow fort was funny. Kind of wish I took a picture of that just because it was funny. It's objectively funny.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we didn't get more of it. But mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Your donation was given. It was received. You saved a life. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Really amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do encourage. I encourage people just to at least get onto the list, and if or when you get that call, just really do consider it, because it is definitely something that it changes lives, yourself as well, because it's just the way I see things have shifted, and for the better, for the best, and man, it was a process. It was definitely a process, and I'm grateful to have gone through it. I'm going to leave so many links below if you want to sign up, if you want to check it out. I can't wait to see the clips being put into this.
The final cut.
Yeah.
Of
because Chris was an amazing companion. And I was happy to see you in a different light as well, just as far as donating food at a pantry, getting the ginger ale, and I told our
caretaker Chris,
caretaker Chris. Yeah. I remember telling our Bravery family, he's going to make a great husband one day. He's going to be great.
For Christ's sakes, don't tell anybody.
But yeah, so that was a big part of my journey as a bone marrow plasma donor. So I am a donor. Let me see this. I'm a proud donor. And thank you so much, Chris, for joining me on this journey. It was a very personal one.
It was. And thank you for allowing me the privilege to be part of it. And I mean that. That's not just a bunch of, bluster because we're doing a show. The fact that you thought enough of me to ask me, again, I sat with it the night you called me.
Yeah.
And I just thought wow, this is a big deal. And I'm glad. I mean, I completely understood the circumstances as to why, but I thought I'm glad that after, a year and change of being friends, we're at the point where it's no, I'm trusting you to kind of take care of me during this process. So it was a huge compliment.
And that's I didn't take that lightly.
Oh, without a doubt.
That was a very,
And I would have expected you to reach out to, 4 people before reaching out to me. For a lot of, because you're close to a lot of people and have been for a long time. So of course you're going to want to see if you're the people closest to you and who would be good, in terms of looking after you for something like this. You'd want to check with them first. Yeah. Of course. So I get it. But it did mean a lot to be part of it.
Thank you. All right. Well, that's been my journey. Thank you for whoever has been listening, watching. This has been another episode of Xposed with Ash. I'll see you later. Bye.